hopefully this works because I'm down in the basement and the parking area of one of our service accommodation units, and I thought it was worth me jumping on a live here because you'll notice the title of this, but ultimately drugs in serviced accommodation can be a problem, right? And I don't mind admitting that it happens from time to time in our serviced accommodation units. So what I'm about to show you is what was found in one of our serviced accommodation units. Let me just flick this camera around. Okay. Right, so we've got swabs, we've got more needles than you can shake a stick at here. We've got spoons, as you do, you know, the proper spoon. So obviously this has all been given by a medical centre. Swabs. Now this stuff's interesting. This reverses the effects of an overdose, and then you've got a sharps container, and there's obviously needles in there. Now, here's the thing. How do you check that your guests are not drug users? Now, this particular drug user, obviously being quite responsible in terms of trying to be as safe as possible, but what's not great is all of this stuff has been left in one of our units. Now then, it wouldn't have been so bad if the cleaners had have found it. So it was all in the bedside table drawer. If the cleaners had found it when the particular guest checked out. Unfortunately, we don't know which guest it was because a mum, okay, so she's staying in the property and she's got young kids, she found it. And she was being a bit of a Karen, if you don't mind me saying. If she ends up watching this, then so be it. I'll take another bollocking. But she's going overboard saying, well, if my kids had found it, etc., etc. Well, kids can find charts all over the place that all of this stuff it wasn't used needles or anything like this that the kid would have found. So she was at it, to be honest with you. But we've obviously got to eat massive humble pie and say I'm really sorry, etc., etc., etc. Now all this would have been averted if the cleaners had have checked the drawers. So your cleaners, or you, if you're doing it, I've never done it, but if you are doing it, you've got to check all of the drawers to make sure stuff hasn't been left behind. So people leave things, right? And it's valuable stuff. And it's a nightmare having to try and post stuff on to guests who have left stuff and you want your good review and all of that stuff. So anyway, you've got to check the drawers because what might happen is the world's allocation of drugs paraphernalia. It could have been worse. It could have been live drugs, right? And then the mum would have had a proper issue, wouldn't she? If there'd have been live drugs that the kids could potentially have found. Actual drugs, live drugs, what's that? So yeah, really important. You've got to make sure that your cleaners are checking all of the drawers, nooks and crannies, making sure that there's nothing left behind because it could be something serious that is going to be a big problem for you in service accommodation. So hopefully, I don't mind sharing that. It happens, right? Warts and all. How do you stop it? But your cleaners need to make sure that the place is ready for your next guest. So if you find this stuff useful, let me know in the chat. Comment below. Have you had anything? I've heard some really, really bizarre things left in service accommodation, like sex toys and God knows what else. So yeah, what have you had the experiences? You know, what have you had happen to you? It'd be useful to find out. So let us know in the comments. And give us a like, subscribe, follow, all of that good stuff, depending on which platform you're on. So for me, the property soldier, remember your future prosperity needs you. Take care.